must tell our people the truth. Nothing his but the truth. Pepper them with the truth. Don't pamper them with lies, falsehoods, and swashbuckling tales of things that never were and may never ever be. And the first truth I need us to keep telling our people is historical truth. What is historical truth? Many Igbos think that we were forced suddenly to become part of Nigeria. This nostalgia we are having about a Biafra that seems to be the Garden of Eden, where things were 100% perfect before Nigeria happened, is illusion. There was never a time the Southeast was like Dubai before Nigeria happened and things started scattering. In fact, before Nigeria happened, there was no such thing like Anambra, Enugu, Imo. Anywhere there is opportunity, we want to be there. Let's stop creating the impression or listening to those who make it look like our being in other places was because all of a sudden Nigeria happened and they came and deported us to Babylon, to other places, and now we want to come back. That's not a historical truth. And if you read history, this thing we are talking about, marginalization, is accident of history. The trajectory before was that everywhere you go, when Nigeria was made, everywhere you go, Igbos dominated in education, in civil service, in military. That's why you have an Igbo man, Chukwuma, Kaduna, Nzogo. He was in charge of what? Military in the north. Anybody who is giving you any fantastic idea of a Biafra that existed where job opportunity was 100/1, where there was a land flowing with milk and honey and all of that, it's not true. There were historical things that happened. You could say they were beyond anybody's control. So it's not like the other part of Nigerians sat down, strategically planned to come and put us in a situation where we found ourselves. We are also part of the mistakes that got us to where we are. History does not lie. It's only those who narrate it and who interpret it that may lie. Igbos have benefited from Nigeria. Nigeria has benefited from Igbos. If you see it this way, then you remove every hatred, anger, bitterness. Because you cannot heal when there is hatred, when there is anger, when there is bitterness.
Let's give audience for our father, Reverend Fada John Oluoma, to come up on stage and talk to us about healing, the healing of the Igbo people. Those who were here earlier, we saw the documentary titled, "This Is Not Us." It premiered for the first time here, and it will be on different platforms by this evening. Now, that documentary showcased the level of destruction that we did to ourselves in our own region, in addition to the level of suffering and destruction the Nigerian Civil War caused on us. Now, with all this trauma, with all this destruction, there is a need for healing. The people who experience this, some of us argue that part of the reason why this agitation has continued is because since after the war, there was no process for the people to heal. And now the trauma has continued till now, and we are reliving and revisiting this trauma on ourselves. So we would like to hear from Reverend Father John Oluoma to talk to us on healing. Thank you very much. After that, we'll continue with our interactions and question and answers. There will be plenty of room to express yourself. Thank you very much.
Okay, I wanted to say praise the Lord, but this is so Igbo Kwen. Igbo Kwen. Kwezono. Dr. Nelson, I don't know why people gave me the topic healing. Is it because I'm a priest? So let me begin with a story. That's what we do. An Igbo man accompanied his friend to a burial in one part of Nigeria. It's a story. In fact, he said he went with his other friend from the north, one from the southwest, a Yoruba, And then they went to this burial somewhere in the south. So when the corpse was to be lowered, they discovered people putting money and other things. And somebody there now told them, put money. And they were like, why are you putting money? They say it's their custom here, their tradition, that when you're burying somebody, you put money so that the person will have something as he journeys to the other world. So the Hausa guy put 100,000. The Yoruba guy put another 100,000. And that's 200,000. Then they told the Igbo guy, well, he brought out his checkbook and he wrote 350,000, put it inside a casket and removed the 200,000 that his friends put and put in his pocket. And they say, Oga, what is the problem? He said, my friends contributed 100,000. I contributed 150 to make it 350. So I wrote a check for him. You know, there are armed robbers on the way, so it better he goes with the check so that nobody will rob him. The first point of that story is Igbos were, in quote, known to be wise. We literally took the wise men from the Bible and personalized it. So that's why we say wise men from the East. Among all the stereotypes of tribes in Nigeria, some right, some wrong, Igbos, we usually see ourselves or tout ourselves as wise. And there is a reason for that. You know, that the Igbo man can turn even burials into a money-making opportunity. So Igbos know how to take opportunities. Then the second thing I want us not to lose here is that the Igbo man profits more when he mixes with a larger group of persons. That it is not against our nature, culture, history to be isolated, to be on our own. We mix with people of different culture. That is a historical fact. Any other thing that happened in history are what we may call circumstances beyond our control. The circumstances within our control is that we intentionally, deliberately mix with other people. The first time I came very close to the Civil War and all of its anguish was when I read Half of a Yellow Sun by Chimamanda. And to be honest with you, today I have not completed that novel. I got to a particular point. I couldn't contain it. I left it. I know that war is not our problem, I can tell you. Those who experienced that war, many of them have moved on. I can say that as a tribe, we have hid from that war. But for some reason, misinformation, propaganda, we go and open up the wounds again and then make us susceptible. So, talking to us about healing from whatever trauma, I will say that the first thing that we need to heal, if anybody is still carrying the trauma of that war, the first thing we need is the truth. The truth and nothing but the truth. Jesus says in John 8, you shall know the truth and the truth will set you free. And I think that's what this conversation is all about. We must tell ourselves the truth. The truth that voices like Ijele have been shouting. The truth that people like Prof write about in politics. The truth that Kelechi Deka and Co. The truth that we've been listening to the present governor of Anambra State, Charles Soludo. He has been saying, and today, since I came here, I've been enjoying a whole lot of historical, facts from him. So we must tell our people the truth. Nothing his but the truth. Pepper them with the truth. Don't pamper them with lies, falsehoods, and swashbuckling tales of things that never were and may never ever be. And the first truth I need us to keep telling our people is historical truth. What is historical truth? Many Igbos, those in this generation who have been given false information, think that we were forced suddenly to become part of Nigeria. As if it is becoming Nigeria that has made Igbo people to leave Igbo land to go to places like Lagos, Kano, and other places to settle. That's not true. Igbos started mass migration from Igbo land long before Nigeria existed. If you go and Google, from the 1900s, as my brother said, it's a historical fact. From the 1900s, Igbo started moving to other parts of Nigeria. That's why Azikiwe, Nnamdi Azikiwe, he was born in 1904. Where? Zungeru, Niger State. So if he was born in 1904, that means his parents went there as early as 1800s. They lived there, built houses there, did businesses. Nobody marginalized them. Nobody killed them. That's where Azikiwe grew, Zungeru. Another popular Nigerian, I can't remember, was also born in Zungeru. Is it Cyprian Ekwensi, one of the finest writers? He was born in Zungeru, Niger State. Either him or Kaduna, Chukwuma Kaduna, Nzogu. Many Igbos, so before Nigeria came to be, Igbos had migrated out to other parts of Nigeria. Ojukwu's father, Sir Louis Ojukwu, made his money where? In Lagos State. From 1929, he became the first billionaire in Nigeria. He was so rich that when Queen Elizabeth visited Nigeria, it was his Rolls Royce that were used to drive the Queen. His wealth was made in Lagos State. You could say the same thing about so many other prominent Igbo people. So before Nigeria came to be in 19 around the 40s or thereabout, 1940, when the British now merged us together. Then we got our independence in 1960. So before Nigeria came to be, our people were already migrating. And for the fact that their host communities gave them places to stay, is to let you know that those people were hospitable, they were welcoming, and they were kind. I have lived all my life in the north. I grew up in the north, schooled in the north, lived with them, and all of that. I have not died, and all of that. So the first point we must let our people know is that we are migratory in nature. Why? Because anywhere there is an opportunity, an Igbo man wants to do what? Wants to take it. And that's part of what makes us great. That is in the area we liken ourselves to the Jews. Anywhere there is opportunity, we want to be there.
Election victory begins with a good media projection and visibility. For this reason, BAM Interview has created this campaign space for all our political candidates to reach out to Igbo and convincingly tell them why their vote should be in your favor. Hurry now, contact the numbers on your screen today. Let's take you a step closer to your victory.
And to take absolute, use of that opportunity. So let's stop creating the impression or listening to those who make it look like our being in other places was because all of a sudden Nigeria happened and they came and deported us to Babylon, to other places, and now we want to come back. That's not a historical truth. And if you read history, you will know that this thing we are talking about, marginalization, is accident of history. The trajectory before was that everywhere you go, when Nigeria was made, everywhere you go, Igbos dominated. in education, in civil service, in military. That's why you have an Igbo man, Chukwuma Kaduna Nzogu. He was in charge of what? Military in the north. I think Ojukwu the same thing before he was redeployed. There were historical things that happened. You could say they were beyond anybody's control. So it's not like the other part of Nigerians sat down, strategically planned to come and put us in a situation where we found ourselves. We are also part of the mistakes that got us to where we are. So the first point I want to make is history. Read history. History does not lie. It's only those who narrate it and who interpret it that may lie. History does not lie. Igbos have benefited from Nigeria. Nigeria has benefited from Igbos. If you see it this way, then you remove every hatred, anger, bitterness. Because you cannot heal when there is hatred, when there is anger, when there is bitterness. And these are part of things that make Igbos to detach themselves from the Nigerian state, making it look like Nigeria is a cancer, that if you don't kill it, it will kill you. That's not true. If you're going to right the wrongs in the society, you cannot come from a place of anger. You cannot come from a place of bitterness. You cannot come from a place of hatred. You can, all those things will only make you self-inflict yourself, self-sabotage. There are no two ways about it. History does not lie. It has never worked anywhere that people who approached wrong from hatred, anger, bitterness, and those kind of cynicism that we see here ever made any headway. It can never work. It has never worked before. It has never worked before. Then the second point I want us to learn from the history is this. Why did Nnamdi Azikiwe's parents leave the Igbo as early as the 1800s? Why did our fathers, let me not call them forefathers because they are not too far. Why did they leave our Igbos to go to other places? It's simple. Opportunities are in other places. Then this nostalgia we are having about a Biafra that seems to be the Garden of Eden, where things were 100% perfect before Nigeria happened. It's illusion. It's illusion. There was never a time the Southeast was like Dubai before Nigeria happened and things started scattering. There was never a time like that. In fact, before Nigeria happened, there was no such thing like Anambra, Enugu, Imo, Ohaneze Ndi Igbo. There was nothing like that. We were all splinter groups in our different enclaves. And we also fought wars among ourselves, in case you didn't know. There were communal clashes, inversions, and all of that. The remote man in Imo State, I'm sure, didn't even know that the remote Igbo man in Abakaleke or Ebonyi State ever existed. We were just normal communities who were existing and eking out livings in our traditional way. So anybody who is giving you any fantastic idea of a Biafra that existed where job opportunity was 100/1, where there was a land flowing with milk and honey and all of that, it's not true. If you want an Igbo land where milk and honey flow, then we have to start producing it ourselves, strategically, intentionally, and with all that is in our blood. So those are the two important things I want us to learn from history. We never had an Igbo land that was a Garden of Eden. Of course, we had an Igbo land that was like every other place, facing its own challenges and its people and all that. And our people had always been welcomed elsewhere. All of other things that happen, like riots, violences, are factors that you are not tribal, so to say, that are just strictly because these people are this or this and this. Or there are things that we have not confronted with. I need us to have that. Then finally, to heal, we must drop the victimization mentality. We are not victims. As Igbos, we are all victims of bad governance, corrupt governance, and it is not targeted to us as Igbos alone. What we are suffering, people from other parts of the country. We were analyzing this with Prof. Charles, Professor Ludo, the governor, with Kelechi Deka. Check all the regions that have produced the presidents of Nigeria. Let's take Goodluck Jonathan, for example. He was president for how many years? 6 years. Go to his place, Otueke. Go to his place, Otueke, go and check. Go to Southwest. The state that has produced more presidents should be Ogun State. I think that's where Obasanjo comes from, right? That's also where VP, Osibanjo, thereabout. What is the most developed place in Southwest? Is it not Lagos? Even Tinubu is not a Lagos State indigene and all of that. You go to the north. Northwest has always produced, that is a Katsina state. All the civilian presidents that have come from north, they are from Katsina, Yaradua, Buhari, that axis, right? Which is the most developed place in the north? It's Kano. Yet, what is development in this is compared to the place. So, we are not victims, specially targeted. We are all suffering the same thing that other persons are suffering in other places. So let us define the problem and tackle it than having some illusion about certain things from tribal or ethnic perspective. If we do that, that is actually going to remove our focus from what should be. So we should start having this victimization mentality. We should stop having this victimization mentality. Yes, in politics, there may be problems with appointments and all of that. We do understand that. But please look beyond that and you will see that the people that have the juiciest appointments, it does not translate into development for their people. Don't let politicians use you to fight their battle. Don't let politicians use you to fight their battle. Any place where appointment comes, the immediate beneficiaries of appointment may be the immediate family of the political appointee, not necessarily the region where such is coming. But then finally, I just want to reiterate again that hatred, anger, cynicism or cynicism, I don't know how you may call it, bitterness can never solve any problem. Even if you are marginalized, perceived or real or imagined, once you approach it with hatred or bitterness or with violence, you are the one who is going to suffer the consequences most. And that's why we cannot but ensure that what has happened in the past, is it 10 years, should never ever happen in Igbo land. I wrote something in the past. I said, okay, we were suffering marginalization. I agreed. Then this group of people came that they want to get us freedom, free us from marginalization. I said before the agitation started, yes, we were suffering marginalization, but with that marginalization, Southeast was at the forefront of development in Nigeria. Southeast was the most prosperous part of Nigeria with all the political marginalization because we had peace. We were building houses. At least individual industries were coming up and all that. Tourism in the name of traditional marriages, Christmas returnees from USA, UK, and other parts of the country. Some people, the money they used for 1 year was made during Christmas celebration because of those who returned from abroad. There were people that the next 1 year, what they were going to survive on was what they made during that time. All of these things were happening. Then we had an agitation. Marginalization, it did not stop. The peace we had, it was taken. What we never heard in the Southeast before, what we never heard, that people were killed, communities were sacked, traditional marriages were now happening in Lagos, in Abuja, Haba. This one is not even from frying pan to fire. This one is from AC bedroom to fire. That's why I'm going to qualify it. So if we want to heal, we must tell ourselves this truth, and we must drop every form of anger, bitterness, violence. We must see ourselves, we are special, we are unique, but we are not superior to any race. We are not a superior race. We are just a unique set of human beings with our gifts, our talents, with our strength and all of that. We have also our weaknesses. We must see that. And a bigger space called Nigeria benefits the Igbo man more than a small place that we will now call our own. So I would say let us join hands together, join our political leaders to ensure that we keep working at righting what is wrong, in the society, but to ensure that please the Southeast, no matter what, retains its first position as the most peaceful state in Nigeria. And that cannot happen if I cannot disagree with Ijele, or I cannot disagree with Tobe, or I cannot disagree with Kelechi Deka without him carrying out a gun and pointing at me. No matter your opinion, no matter your idea, I should be able to disagree with you. That's what makes us Igbos. That's why they say we are Republicans. Okwaya? Onye okucha, onodeana, onye ozo, eku. I don't know if my time is up. But if my time is not up, I don't think I have anything much more to say. But to say thank you to Igbo Conversation Conference, that we can sit down as brothers to have this conversation is very important. Thank you so much. God bless you. God bless Igbo, and God bless Nigeria.
Please, another round of applause for Reverend Fada John Oluoma. Thank you, thank you.
I want to make healthy living a culture in our society. The time to make exercise, you sweat. That sweat is very important. Ibana garden, bela kukwani, very natural food. Or if your body need it, just new abuna day to choose.